filter with mud-brown creek water last spring. Water you would not touch with your hand. I poured it in the top and watched it disappear into the layers. 4 minutes later, water came out the bottom that was clear enough to read print through. The entire filter cost nothing. Every material in it came from the ground, a fire pit, and a pair of discarded plastic bottles. I built it in under 30 minutes. That is the whole story, and I am going to show you exactly how to repeat it. I did not invent this. The version I'm going to show you draws directly from methods documented during the American Civil War of 1861 to 1865. Union Army field manuals and soldier diaries describe portable filtration units built from wooden barrels, canvas, sand, and charcoal from campfires. Men on long marches through unfamiliar territory, far from clean wells, pulling water from rivers shared with livestock and the dead, built these filters to survive. They worked then. They work now. The principle itself is far older than the Civil War. In 1829, British civil engineer James Simpson designed and built the first large-scale slow sand filter for public water supply in Chelsea, London. Layered gravel, coarse sand, and fine sand supplying clean water to an entire district. The London engineering establishment dismissed it at first. Within 30 years, slow sand filtration was the dominant treatment method across Europe. Engineers John Liel and George Warren Fuller brought this approach to Jersey City, New Jersey in 1908 as the foundation for the first comprehensive municipal water treatment system in the United States. Every modern municipal water treatment plant uses some variation of the layered filtration principle that James Simpson proved in Chelsea and that Union soldiers applied in the field with whatever they could carry. It works too well and costs too little to sell in its original form. So the knowledge sat quietly on the shelf. So let me show you how to do it. You already know this works. Think about what happens when rain falls on a hillside and soaks into the ground. It enters the soil cloudy and full of particulates. By the time it reaches the water table, after traveling through layers of topsoil, clay, sand, and rock, it emerges clear. Springs produce clean water not because the earth generates purity, but because the earth filters. The ground itself is a gravity filter. What we are building is a compressed, portable version of what the earth does slowly over decades. The science has three mechanisms working at once. First, mechanical filtration. Coarse particles, sediment, and larger organisms are physically trapped between grains of gravel and sand. Second, adsorption. Wood charcoal from a clean burning fire is extraordinarily porous. A single gram has an internal surface area of up to 500 square meters, roughly a tennis court, packed into something you can hold between two fingers. Contaminants bond to that surface and stay there. The water passes through. The hitchhikers do not. Think of charcoal as a sponge with millions of tiny rooms. Contaminants check in and never check out. Third, time and gravity. Slowing the water down gives each layer more contact time. Each layer in this filter is like a different-sized strainer in your kitchen. The coarse gravel at the top catches the big chunks. The sand in the middle catches smaller particles. The charcoal layer beneath it catches what you cannot see at all. And the fine cloth at the bottom catches anything that the layers above dislodged on its way through. Now we need to talk about what this filter does and does not do. A well-built gravity filter of this type reliably removes turbidity, sediment, most larger protozoa and parasites, organic compounds, and many chemical contaminants. It significantly reduces unpleasant taste and odor. It will not reliably remove viruses or dissolved heavy metals on its own. For everyday field use and surface water filtration, this filter is a serious tool. For sources with known viral contamination, boiling after filtration adds the layer of protection this system alone cannot provide. That combination, gravity filter followed by a rolling boil, is exactly what Civil War field medicine recommended, and it remains sound practice today. Here's what you need, and I want to be honest with you. This is genuinely it. You need 2 containers, any 2 plastic bottles or cans that can rest one above the other. 2-liter soda bottles, are perfect. You need a way to make small holes in the bottom of the top container: a nail, a heated wire, a knife tip. You need coarse gravel or small stones. Any creek bed or garden has these. You need coarse sand, river sand, construction sand, garden sand. You need charcoal from a wood fire, burned to solid black pieces, not ash, not gray, not lighter fluid briquettes, and a piece of cotton cloth, an old t-shirt, a rag. Every item comes from your immediate environment. Nothing is purchased. There is one optional material worth mentioning. Fine gravel or aquarium-style small pebbles between the sand and charcoal layers improve the filter's performance noticeably by slowing the flow rate and extending contact time between water and charcoal. If you have it, use it. If not, the filter works without it. The total cost to build this filter is $0. The materials are under your feet, in your fire pit, and in your recycling bin. Now let us build it. Start with your top container, one of the 2-liter bottles. Remove the cap. Using your nail or heated wire, make 5 to 7 small holes in the bottom. The holes should be roughly the diameter of a pencil lead, large enough to allow flow, small enough to slow it down and prevent the layers from pushing through wholesale. Uniform spacing matters more than perfect size. Think of the bottom of this bottle as a colander at a very fine scale. You want drainage, not a pour spout. Cut the bottom off the second bottle cleanly. This becomes your collection vessel. Set it upright. The top bottle will rest inverted inside or directly above it, draining downward by gravity into the open top collection bottle below. You now have the physical chassis of your filter. Now pack the layers. This step is where most people ruin their first attempt by reversing the order. The sequence from top to bottom, the direction water travels, is this: cloth, then gravel, then coarse sand, then charcoal, then fine sand, then cloth again at the very bottom, before the outlet holes. Think of packing the layers the way you would layer a lasagna. The order is the recipe, and switching layers is not a variation, it is a mistake. Cut 2 small circles of cloth, roughly the diameter of the bottle's interior. Place the first circle inside at the very top of the filter. This is your pre-filter, catching large debris before it reaches the gravel and extends the life of everything beneath it. Now add your first layer, coarse gravel, 2 to 3 inches deep. This layer breaks the force of the incoming water and catches anything large that the cloth missed. Press it down gently, but do not compact it hard. You want the spaces between the stones to remain open. Here is where most people ruin the entire filter on their first pass. They use sand that has not been washed. Unwashed sand carries its own fine silt, and when water runs through it the first time, that silt pushes down through the charcoal and out the bottom, making your filtered water look worse than what went in. Wash your sand first. Put it in a container with water, stir vigorously, pour off the cloudy water, and repeat until the rinse water runs mostly clear. 2 to 3 cycles is enough. This single step separates a filter that works from one that disappoints. Add your coarse sand layer, 3 to 4 inches gently leveled. No compaction. If you have the optional fine gravel layer, add 1 inch of it here, on top of the coarse sand. Now the charcoal layer. Your charcoal should come from solid wood burned in a clean fire. Not treated wood, not painted wood, not wood with adhesives. Hardwoods like oak, hickory, or fruit wood produce the best charcoal for this purpose. Take your charcoal pieces and crush them to roughly pea-sized fragments. Not dust, not large chunks, pea-sized. Dust compacts and blocks flow. Large chunks leave too much gap between particles. Add 3 to 4 inches of crushed charcoal. Do not compact it at all. The porosity of the charcoal layer is its entire value. Compressing it reduces the surface area available for adsorption. Add your fine sand layer last. 2 to 3 inches, gently leveled. Place your second cloth circle directly on the outlet holes at the bottom before any material goes in. This layer holds the fine sand and charcoal in place and prevents them from washing directly into your collection vessel on first use. Your filter is assembled. Before you run real water through it, prime it. Pour a full bottle of clean water. or even the cloudy water you intend to filter, through the system slowly. Let it drain completely. Do this 3 times before you collect or use any output water. The priming runs flush out loose particles, settle the layers into their working position, and saturate the charcoal so it is ready to adsorb on the first real pass. The first and second prime outputs will be cloudy or gray-tinted from charcoal dust. The third should run noticeably clearer. That is your signal the filter is primed and ready. Now run your source water through it. Here is the test that tells you your filter is working. Hold a glass of the filtered water up and extend a finger behind it. If you can clearly see your finger through the water, the mechanical filtration is performing correctly. Now smell the glass. Filtered water that has passed through a properly packed charcoal layer should have no odor at all. If it smells earthy or smoky, run it through a second pass. If it smells sharp or chemical, your charcoal may not have been clean-burning hardwood. Rebuild the charcoal layer with a better source. Clean filtered water smells like nothing. That is exactly what you are looking for. At 30 minutes from starting construction, you have a working filter producing visibly clear water from a source you would not previously have touched. At the 3-pass mark, the charcoal layer has been fully activated by contact with real water, and the flow rate has stabilized. This is when the filter hits its stride. The output is noticeably better than the first pass. Clearer, less color, completely odor-free. With regular use and reasonable source water, a gravity filter built this way will perform effectively for weeks to months before the charcoal layer needs to be replaced. Sand layers can be washed and reused almost indefinitely. Charcoal from your next campfire is free. The entire operating cost of this system across a full year of use is $0, and the time it takes to crush a handful of hardwood charcoal. Here is the part that strikes me every time. A Union soldier in Virginia in 1863, on foot, carrying everything he owned, pulling water from a river used by 10,000 men and their horses, could build this filter from what he found at his campsite. He did not need a supply chain. He needed the knowledge that the layers work in a specific order, and that charcoal from a clean fire does something gravel and sand alone cannot. That knowledge kept men alive on some of the most grueling marches in American military history. This is what self-reliance looks like. It is not a warehouse of equipment. It is not a shelf of expensive gear with a 5-year shelf life. It is the understanding that clean water runs through a sequence of layers you can build from the ground up in 30 minutes from materials that cost nothing anywhere on Earth you happen to find yourself. You did not need a patent. You did not need a filter cartridge. You needed gravel, sand, charcoal, and cloth, and the knowledge of how to stack them in the right order. I do not want you to wait for an emergency to try this. Build one this weekend. Old soda bottles, sand from your garden, charcoal from your next fire. Treat it as an experiment. If it does not produce clear water on the first pass, you are out $0 in 30 minutes. But when you hold that first glass of clear water up to the light, clean, still, odorless, from something you built with nothing, you will not need me to explain why this knowledge is worth having. If this forgotten method changed the way you look at clean water and what it actually takes to produce it, please subscribe and like the channel. We are unearthing practical wisdom that the modern world has tried to bury. Build your resilience from the ground up, one layer at a time. The next treasure of forgotten knowledge will be revealed soon.